Hello and welcome to this midweek edition of the Championship Talk podcast. In this edition, we'll be reviewing Tuesday night 6 games from the Championship. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm your host, Paul O'Toole, and joined opposite me on Skype today is my co-host, Thomas Falco.
Hello!
First of all, I want to start with just a few news articles that have happened since we recorded. And the first one will be Sol Campbell taking his first job in management at Macclesfield Town.
Yeah, bit of a surprise that he has had to go so low to start, but also at the same time got a lot of respect for him by doing that. Sort of very symmetrical to the route that Paul Ince started when he started managing, because he started off at Moss Rose with Macclesfield as well.
Yeah, we can also look at managers like Joey Barton, Kevin Nolan, Harry Kewell. They've all started their managerial careers lower down. Traditionally, that's how it worked. Obviously, we know now that it does seem to be.
Sorry, I am laughing because it's now Aston Villa 2, Nottingham Forest 3.
Oh wow!
Go on, sorry.
You'd much rather record a podcast than watch that game. It sounds like it's boring. Anyway. The other bit of news that we kind of didn't pick up on was the injury news coming out of Preston. I think you've got a bit more detail.
Yeah, I mean, we have highlighted the virtues of one Callum Robinson since the start of this podcast. He's a big part of the reason that we've both said in this podcast, along with other more astute experts, that Preston are in a false league position, a overused phrase sometimes unnecessarily, but this time very much so. He had to limp out of their 4-1 win against Blackburn. They were hoping it wasn't so severe, but as it's transpired, probably whilst we were recording the podcast on Monday evening, that he is now out for a minimum of 3 months, having had to undergone surgery even on a torn hamstring, which is such a shame because, as Alex Neil has alluded to himself, he has had the season of his life so far, although he's only 20, so he's obviously got a long time left to have another one. But he made his debut for the Republic of Ireland setup not so long ago as well. He scored, 10 goals, I think he's on for the season?
He is.
Or
top goal scorer.
Something very similar. He's been instrumental in Preston's recovery, and has even been a big part of the reason why they have not been absolutely thrashing in the games they've lost, because he scores and sets up goals for fun at the moment. So obviously a very big hit for Preston, but their result yesterday, as we'll talk about in a little while, goes a long way to prove that maybe they can rely on the team ethos rather than an individual going forward.
Can I be an old curmudgeon?
You normally are.
Probably keeps him at Preston.
Quite possibly, or even worse, that may well lower his price if Preston have to sell, which hopefully they don't have to. We don't know their financial situation, so we can't speculate. If he is injured with this type of injury, that can actually affect a player going forward as well. We've seen it in the past as well. They do a hamstring, have to have surgery on it, and that maybe affects their pace. Hopefully not with him. He's still 20 years old, got a lot of time to recover, bless him. Hopefully he comes back, and hopefully he does keep at Preston, because he could be the difference between them pushing into the top 6 at the end of the season and being in mid-table.
100% agree with you with that. So we're going to move on to Brentford 2, Sheffield United 3.
Another boring game in the wilderness.
Absolutely, this one was terrible. 8,900 at Griffin Park to see this, although the stadium looked absolutely packed, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Brentford have relied a lot on Mope, top goal scorer in the league. Obviously, they've got injuries elsewhere. Ollie Watkins, they're missing badly, so maybe Marama. However, Mope's getting on the score sheet. I just do wonder if they were to lose him, how badly that could affect their season.
Yeah, we've said before, he likes to have a shot at goal, take nothing away from his effort, although more to do with his teammate, I think. That was a lovely finish. He let it run across his body, but that was all about the ball from Sawyers, weren't it? From halfway inside his own half, he just played a lovely through ball. Mope let it run through him before he hit it home, left-footed, the near post to Henderson. Takes a lot to beat Henderson in his near post. He's probably one of the standout goalkeepers so far this season. Not that you'd say that because you're very down on goalkeepers.
He has been a really good goalkeeper. I actually don't even blame him for this goal.
Oh no, that was hit with so much accuracy and power in that part of the net that's impossible for anyone to save. But going back to your initial point, sorry, Paul, just put a little bit of meat on the bone, so to speak. Maupay is crucial to what makes Brentford tick, and that's quite concerning that even his goals at the minute are not getting Brentford points.
No, and he doesn't even break stride with this. I think most of his goals have been from inside the 18-yard box. This one obviously wasn't. This was a fantastic way to start the game. Unfortunately for Brentford, they couldn't hold on to the lead. Do you want to describe the next goal? Because I think it was quite funny.
The next goal, yeah, we've also missed out, just very briefly sum it up. Sheffield United were very unfortunate not to be able to score as a result of their actual kickoff for the restart, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
That was well worked to the left. Stevens, who seems to get forward quite a lot. Bloody Ender, I'll get his name right today. Ender Stevens gets across, plays a good
ball.
Not bloody Edna, bloody Ender. Lundstrom smacked the bar from about, I can't remember how far that was actually. It's about 7-8 yards out maybe, and the rebound fell to Norwood, who blazed it over and wide. But as you know, that was a bit of practice before the main show later on. That was a corner from Ollie Norwood, who seems to be providing devilish set pieces for Sheffield United from the left-hand side, and it was headed into his own net by Konsa. I think that was one of them hilarious mistimed headers that you see defenders do, and you know if they mistime a header in their own area, especially in the 6-yard box, you know it's going to end up in a disaster and an own goal.
I think the best part about this is when you look at his eyes. He had his eyes closed. He busted up.
Well, I not ever playing as a defender at football and being someone who tries to avoid heading the ball at all costs, which I think you can associate with as well, even though you play outfield. I just think he went up and probably wasn't expecting, because there was a Sheffield United player in front of him, wasn't there? So he probably jumped up as a reflex, if that makes sense, maybe not expecting to get anything on the ball, and just thought, oh crap, the ball's come to me, just try and do something, and just panicked and done that. But unfortunate whichever way you want to slice it, and that's just what Brentford don't need at the minute, because they seem to be a team who can score, but defensively they're very low on confidence, it seems.
I'll tell you what also Brentford don't need is players that can hit the ball from 30 yards into the top corner.
Oh. Well,
that's what happened on 15 minutes.
They could maybe do with a food playing for them.
Yeah.
No, that was a lovely one. Would you like to describe it, or would you like me to go through it again?
Freeman gives him the ball, and it was kind of on the half volley, and he's got a weird body shape to hit this. Loops over the goalkeeper, top corner. This goal was fantastic. I love this goal. Yeah,
he looked up and he saw that Bentley had given him just enough to work with, I think. Still takes a great technique and fantastic. Take nothing away from him. Bentley was set where he should have been as a goalkeeper, but you come off your line, you run the risk of that happening, and that was beautiful. Just a beautiful, beautiful goal.
Yep, it was a beautiful goal. Then Fleck decides to replay the favour to Brentford to make it 2-2 by scoring his own net for Sheffield United.
Yeah,
good move down the right from Brentford, but he didn't header it in. It just hit him, I think.
Yeah, that was the Sawyer's. I've put in my notes drilled in a cross. I don't think that was quite drilled, but that weren't delicately placed either. That was somewhere in between, and that just deflected off Fleck. With the surname Fleck, I don't know if you can remember his father, Robert, playing for Norwich, Chelsea, Rangers and Scotland. They're used to putting the ball in the back of the net from the 6-yard box, but maybe not their own net.
So Sheffield United then took the lead, as I think most of us would have expected them to do. This was from a long throw, good incisive move down the right, and then Leon Clark the ball comes to him, he turns his body shape, it allows it to hit his foot, and it was like a snooker player, just playing the angles past the goalkeeper.
No, I have to say, this was not often you'll hear this phrase. Maybe if you're Tony, maybe if you're Tony Pulis at full time when he still does it now. But what a throw by Freeman!
That was a good throw.
What a peach of a throw! He set Washington free. I mean, the amount of space he had down the right after that throw was phenomenal, brilliant. He's not just good with his feet. Fantastic throw as well. Washington got to the byline, played it in, as you said, about roughly the penalty spot area for Clark, who, he just great finish. I think that was Sheffield United, apart from the first, maybe having their own little competition to see who had the best goal. I mean, obviously, for the finesse of it, that'd be Norwood, but for the build-up, you'd probably argue this one is just as good and more crucial because it got them the 3 points.
I think this goal was the best goal, and I know Norwood's was. I would say Norwood's was just a speculative punt. I think this goal.
No.
This goal was a Sheffield United goal. This goal, if you think of Sheffield United this season, this goal's a Sheffield United goal.
If that was a Sheffield United goal, that would have been a centre back on the end of it to finish rather than Clark.
Billy Sharp.
Billy Sharp, who didn't come on till late in that game, did he? Actually, was he on the pitch when they scored that?
I don't think he was. No, I think Leon Clark had come on as a sub. So in terms of stats, Brentford is at home. You always expect them to dominate possession. 66% here. 14 shots, only 3 of them on target though, which is very unusual. 18 shots to Sheffield United, 5 on target. This was a fantastic game to watch. Sheffield United were the better team. Brentford, though, had the better build-up play. Just they didn't look like they were going to score, and it took an own goal from Sheffield United to get their second to Brentford's second. But I don't think they were that dangerous after that.
No. I mean, that's reflected in what the managers say. Would you like me to run down briefly what the manager said? Radio silence. Would you like me to run down what Thomas Frank said?
Yeah, go on then.
Yeah, there was a little period of silence there. The wondrous Skype. This is a situation where we need to stick together. We need to look inside ourselves. That's players, me, and staff. It's a bit heavy.
Hello.
Yeah, I was going to say we need to step up and we need to do better. Today was a case of not trying to concede too many battles and changing a small few bits. Well, look inside themselves and change a small few bits. Sheffield United manager Chris Wilder said it was a big win. It's been a tough couple of days and we asked a lot of questions of the players over the weekend. They came roaring back tonight and they were angry footballers out there as the performance wasn't good enough on Saturday. I said to the players before the game that I was interested in what their reaction would be and they gave me all the answers. We've changed the team around and that would have raised a few eyebrows, but I picked the team to win a game, and by George, they've done just that. I may have added a couple of words into that, but yeah.
Bit of ad lib.
Yeah.
So we move on to Hull 0, Norwich 0.
But this was actually quite an entertaining 0-0, weren't it, funnily enough?
I've got quite a few notes.
Yes. I mean, from watching the highlights, I caught a bit of this game as live. Well, not as live, actually live as well. Reading the local press as well. Very, very good 0-0. Helped by traditional midweek football weather. It had absolutely tipped it down, didn't it?
It did. It made the KCOM Stadium look like a rugby field.
Well, it is.
First thing, I know, 11,000 turned out to be sodden wet at the stadium.
No better place to be on a cold Tuesday wet night than Hull.
First note, Geordie Device on the bench for this.
Oh no, I wonder why. He's had such a good few. He's had such a good few couple of weeks, hasn't he? That make no sense, but carry on. I
think it was probably a good idea, and the fact they kept a clean sheet, you'd be worried.
Bless him. Right.
So Brown had a good chance at the far post. Should have done better. Should have scored. The ball came in from the left.
Was it the one from Kamil Krosicki?
It was.
I think he maybe panicked because he probably was expecting one of the 2 Norwich defenders to deal with it, and they didn't, did they? The tell by the way he launched himself at it, didn't he? It was like, oh, that's going to get done. Oh no, wait there, and like dived in, and he done well considering, but he maybe could have done better. But that may be being a bit over harsh on him, to be fair.
I mean, Brown coming. He's he's
Bowen. That's Bowen, not Brown.
Bowen. He's new into the team. I think that
He's been playing all season. He's been one of their standout performers.
yeah, no, okay, yeah. Ain't hard, is it?
Can I just say as well? It's now Aston Villa 3, Nottingham Forest 3, and that's only
a draw.
That's only 35 minutes into the match.
Good to see Karanka keeping things tight in the back there.
Yeah. Sorry, carry on, mate.
We'll be done recording, and the second half will be a 0-0.
Probably, yeah. But there you go. And I have forgot to record it on the old Sky Q as well. So yeah, never mind.
I want to say that there was a great save from Marshall. Well, more than one great save from Marshall in this game. He is a top class goalkeeper, isn't he?
He is, yeah. He could probably end up. Well, he won't end up playing in the Premiership again, probably. But he could easily be doing a job in the Prem easily.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I mean, he's probably given Hull at least 10 points this season, and that's not even overstating it. The amount of saves he had to make and the quality as well, absolutely fantastic. And this save as well was that the one from Tribal, I believe, weren't it? When he had played it to Stephen Manu, laid off Tribal, and he sort of parried it into the ground and wide for a corner.
He got such a strong hand on it. It was the one thing about this save is how quickly he got down. But normally, if the goalkeeper saves that, it just goes about a yard in front of him. He got it down away, and I think that was that just showed that. I mean, Marshall is getting on a bit. He's not old, but he's not. He's an experienced goalkeeper now, and I think the Hull have definitely benefited from that this season. Their position would be even more precarious had they not had him in goal.
Oh yeah, they would be rock bottom of the table, no doubt about it whatsoever.
Hull had some good build-up play. They just didn't look dangerous up front. They really didn't. And to be honest, in this game, and it's the first time Norwich have looked a bit lackluster in front of goal, but they're just not a product at either side, sort of going into the second half. Norwich were wasteful with an effort that went just wide. Hernandez had an effort that wide. Build-up play good. Some really full-blooded challenges in this game as well. I think I do like it when two teams get stuck in, but the referee let play on because the weather was terrible.
He let play on because the weather was terrible. How nice of him.
No, you know what I mean. No, you had a pitch where the ball's zipping around. You got players sliding everywhere. I think he let the game play, and I just think that it weren't conditions conducive to football. And as Norwich do like to get the ball down and pass it, I think that hampered them a little bit here.
Yeah, I can't really argue at that point. Although teams at the top of the table should be able to play more than one style of football, so that's why I still tip them to be struggling come May.
Yeah, but not safe yet. We're gonna have a little party when they finally reach like the 46 points mark.
We'll invite Mr. Farker because he likes a good party.
Absolutely. So Hull had 34% possession. Norwich had 66%. As we said, Norwich like to keep the ball. They just struggled with the conditions here a bit. Hull had 14 shots, 4 on target. Norwich had 18 shots, 4 on target. Didn't feel like there were that many shots. I'll be honest. It didn't seem like that. They didn't feel like there was that much action. Although it was an okay game for what it was. You just with Norwich's form, I expected them to get 3 points here, and although Hull were at home, I think they were happy with a point.
Yeah, and I think considering their 2-0 defeat against Nottingham Forest, had to get that in there on Saturday. Bit of booing going on as well. Good for them to get a point on the board and a clean sheet against a team who have been free scoring, don't forget, so far this season as well. Good confidence booster, and they can build on that going forward, hopefully.
Have you got what the manager said?
I have, yes. Sorry, I was just being sarcastic. Nigel Atkinson, his alter ego, said, "We've come out against the league leaders and I thought we were good value for a clean sheet and the point." Something about that sentence has tickled me. The endeavour and hard work were there. We are in good shape, discipline and organisation. For me, it just demonstrated that consistency, the spirit amongst the players has been good for a long period of time. Norwich head coach Daniel Farker, and I can't judge Paul's expression because we're doing Skype today. He gave me an evil look, listeners, on Monday because he knew what I was going to do.
Head coach.
Head coach, not manager, head coach. We should have won this game because we had more possession and created more chances. In each half, we had a chance we should have scored, especially in the second half. The golden chance of Tom Treibel should be a goal. Now, this is a very often used German proverb in the Bundesliga. This is what he said. It's not like the sun is always shining and you can watch some champagne football. Sometimes there are difficult nights in tough conditions. That's what he said.
Did it really?
In not as good a German accent as what I come up with there, obviously.
Okay, enough. So, we move to Ellen Road. Leeds 1, Reading 0. And Leeds got a bit of a fright here, I think.
Yeah. I mean, that's quite strange considering the nature of Reading's inconsistency, really. But they are a team who set up better away from home. But if it wasn't for act of brilliance towards the end of the game, Leeds would have only got a point out of this.
Yeah, he would have done. And I will just move on to that. So it's 27,000 at Ellen Road. So a low crowd for them.
Nothing.
But it is. They've been in the 30,000 all season. It's only Reading. It's fine. But what they actually missed was some late drama and a good game. I made a ton of notes for this game. Reading had a cross. Reading had a shot come cross, which nearly deceived Peacock Farrell, and he managed to tip over his own bar from a free kick early on.
Yep.
Did you?
I did. Yes. I'm just letting you because you said you've got a ton of notes, and I've only written down 2 bullet points. So okay. I'm gonna let you talk until you talk about the goal and the incident at the end, because that's what I can add colour to for this one.
Who did Reading have in goal for him?
Reading's goalkeeper, is that not Nicky Mayenpa?
Nope.
Is that not?
The other one.
the other one. Reading have got more than one goal. Reading have got more than one goalkeeper. Is this you taking the mick out of me now? Oh no, that's not. Nicky Mayenpa plays for Bristol City. Sorry, I knew he was Finnish. Jakola.
That's the one.
Right. Jakola.
So
sorry.
There was a great save from him.
Yeah, I knew that was coming because you couldn't say it, and I got my goalkeeper muddled up.
It was low, one-handed. This was another good save. This was a bit like the Marshall save, actually. He gets down really quick to stop a really well-drilled ball, and it was he pushes it away from goal. I really like that save. Then, to be fair, nothing really happened until about 60 minutes. All the stuff happened in the second half. There was a scrappy goal from Leeds. Stuart Dallas. Good move down the left. Hernandez and Douglas linked up well. Got the ball into the 6-yard box. There was a shot that was saved by the goalkeeper from Reading, and then Dallas just drills it in from about 6 yards. He absolutely smashed it.
Yeah. I mean, he'll not often find himself in that situation where he's able to have such a clean attempt at goal. I'm got to see you've made it more poetic than me as well. I've made 1 point and I've put shot cross driven in to the 6-yard box, and after a bit of a scramble, Dallas fires home because I couldn't keep up with what was going on. There's a shot, save, block, shot, goal. That was just not a typical Leeds goal this season, but counts just as much as any of them fancy ones. From
what I saw, Reading had the best of the first half. And that prompted Bielsa to make 2 half-time substitutions. He brought off Barker and he brought off Alioski, and he brought on Saiz and Clark, I believe. Yes, he did. And that did seem to change Leeds' fortunes. Douglas. Right, so then Douglas gives away the penalty. Now, I watched this 3 or 4 times, and I still can't work out whether this should have been a penalty or not. I think it should have been just by the momentum. But
I saw it twice, and both times I think that was quite clear. There was an incident in a not quite as controversial a decision as the one in the League Cup last night as well. But he went to ground and slid in, and you can't do that in the area unless you get the ball. You cannot run that risk. So really, he deserved it.
I couldn't see the contact made. the body motion looked like it should have been. I think the referee, it was an easy decision for the referee in the end. But I just couldn't see whether it should have been a penalty or not. But you go to ground in the penalty box, you take the risk.
Yep.
So Peacock Farrell was told at the weekend, had the other goalkeepers been fit, he'd have been dropped. That was what it was reported. If Peacock Farrell was told, he would have been dropped had the other goalkeepers been fit. Right? So, what a save.
Oh, brilliant, weren't it? I watched this live because at this stage, my lovely fiancée, hello Kelly, if you're listening, well, she will be, because as we said last time, I forced her to listen. She wanted to watch the soaps, so I was in between doing something else and watching it on my phone. I was watching Sky Sports News on my phone, and when that happened, I watched it, and I just shouted, "What a save!" like that, because that was fantastic. He got down so quick, so low, and got it wide. I can't say anything else other than what a beauty. Absolutely fantastic.
I've given penalty takers absolute stick for stupid run-ups, for little jigs as they're running towards the ball, and hot skip and a jump. You know, it's not triple jump, guys. He had about a 10-yard run-up to this. He was on the edge of the 18-yard box, the quadrant, and he absolutely smashed this as hard as he could from a long run up. I don't think there were many goalkeepers that would have saved this the way Peacock Farrell did.
No, right. I am going to say this, but I'm not leveling it at Peacock Farrell, because that was fantastic. For him to do what he done, there is an element of luck, because as a goalkeeper you have to pick a side, and if you're going to the corner you have to commit, because if you know he's going that way, even like you'd have to have the reflexes of a cat, which is virtually impossible to get down that quick with a penalty struck so firmly. He committed himself and got to the corner. He took the risk, and it paid off, and he deserved exactly what he got out of that. Fantastic save, praise, and give Leeds all 3 points rather than just having the one.
Absolutely. 65% possession for Leeds, 18 shots, 5 on target, 9 shots to 2 on target. Reading had the better of the first half, but didn't take their chances. Leeds brought on Saiss, who changed the game, and ultimately, their play got the goal they deserved. But Reading will be disappointed not to get a point here.
Yeah, and that goes to show how far Reading have come as well, because they've had a bad start to the season, and they're just outside the relegation zone on goal difference, I think, as that stands going into today's games. It goes to show how far they've come, and that they could, with the same amount of commitment and drive, could pull themselves out of the predicament they're in come the end of the season.
Absolutely. Have you got what the manager said?
I have indeed. Marcelo Bielsa said we'd have liked to have finished the game in better conditions, and Reading dared to play more in the closing stages. We didn't take the right positional choices to combat that after making a number of changes in the second half. I'm very happy for Bailey Peacock Farrell and the team. He has shown bravery and resolve in games, and he has had a big influence in keeping us ahead in the game. Saving a penalty would do that. Reading manager Paul Clement told BBC Radio Berkshire, "I think on reflection from the whole game, we did enough to get a draw. It's a strange feeling, because as a professional, you want to get your points for the team by winning or drawing games, but that might be one of the best games we've played. The players did everything that I asked of them in terms of the tactical setup and in how they worked hard on and off the ball against a team who don't stop running. We did really well on all fronts. The only thing we didn't get was the result the performance deserved," and it's hard to argue with that. Yeah.
No, I take both their comments. Reading was so disappointed here. They won't get many. Away points are hard to come by. You've said that. You get a point away in the Championship. You've worked hard, and I think they were so unlucky here. We're going to move on to a team that have played fantastically well this season. Rotherham 2, QPR 2, and Rotherham becoming that team no one wants to play.
No, that's a bit harsh on you saying we're going to go on to a team who have been playing really well. Take nothing away from Queen's Park Rangers. If you take away their first 4 games, they'd probably be in the top 6. Well, they wouldn't, because, actually, they got 0 points after them 4 games, so they'd be in the same place as what they are now. But Carry on, Paul.
I know what you mean. Well, we all know that their season came on the fact that they brought in Tom Hemed and Naki Wells.
Yeah, yeah.
Simple as that. That changed their season. And I'm not saying that those two players have been world beaters, but they've given them a different dynamic. There was 8,000 people at the New York Stadium to watch this game, and on 6 minutes, Will Vokes, a brilliant right foot shot. I thought it was a great.
Oh no, you've missed the first bit here. Viner, what a ball from Viner to set up Taylor.
On the left.
Yes, he lofted that as a 45-yard diagonal. I put that, and I spelled diagonal wrong, but the listeners can't see my notes. To the left wing to Taylor, played it to the edge of the area for Richie Towell. Very good on FIFA if you want to get him on the cheap. Laid it off to Volks, who from just outside the area drilled a low shot in beyond Lumley. That was absolutely fabulous.
I knew you were coming with that. This was a good goal. And to be honest, Lumley's not a bad keeper, so to beat him, it was a fantastic shot. It really, really was. And it just showed the football that Rotherham can play. QPR, though, unfortunately, in literally 6 minutes later, showed the bad side of Rotherham. This was an absolute gift. Two defenders. What were they doing?
I don't know. I think that was a very speculative ball in the first place, weren't it? I think it was Luongo who looped the ball in. The two Rotherham defenders, I think that was Williams, was the main culprit, and made a complete hash of it, and it laid it on a plate for Wells to equalise. You don't give him that sort of opportunity.
Not from 6 yards. I'm sorry. You know, the only way I could describe it. Do you think they put each other off?
Quite possibly. That's the sort of thing where at any sort of level, if you see your teammate going for it, you think, that's fine, sorted. And then you see him and go, oh. This is one of them. Very, very unfortunate, but at this level, you cannot afford to get away with that. Not even at their old level in League One. They could probably get away with that in that area, but the higher up the football pyramid you go, the more likely it is to be punished with a goal. And unfortunately for them, all their hard work was undone by a rather elementary and basic error.
It was. However, 3 minutes later, on 15 minutes, Robertson then scores, which, and I don't like using the word long ball, but it was a long ball.
You can forgive the phrase long ball, because was that not a free kick?
Yeah, it was inside their own half.
Yeah, so like that was a ball that was purposely played into the box, weren't it? I know long balls are the same as well, but from a free kick, you want to get your centre-backs forward and get that ball into the box. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's what most teams would do, I would imagine, in that situation. Route 1's going to get you goals more than fancy Dan stuff, passing it about and getting it in there, maybe doing 8 or 9 passes too many and not being able to capitalise. That was a lovely ball as well from Volks. He's got a wonder of a foot, isn't he?
It was a great header.
That was
he kind of cushioned it but redirected it, and it just it was a good goal. But it was a goal that would not go down as champagne football.
No, but it's effective, and I think a team like Rotherham, it's going to sound nasty, but I don't mean it to be, Rotherham will not have the finances or the quality players to play champagne football, so they have to play to their strengths. And although the first goal was close to champagne football, this is more to type, and that's probably what's going to keep them up come the end of the season, scoring goals like this.
Do you know what's going to have a big hand in keeping them up? Rodak.
Literally a big hand.
Literally a big hand. He made one good save, and then he made an absolute cracking save from Eze. Fantastic. This was he's made some rickets this season, but this showed. He had to show a lot of strength to get this away from God. This was fantastic. I love this save. However, unfortunately, Rotherham.
You keep saying unfortunately. We got absolutely bombarded with people saying, why are you picking on QPR? Why are you picking on QPR at the start of the season? We've done so hard. We worked so hard to sing their praises and big them up for the magnificent run of form they're on, and then you talk about this game, and twice you've said, and unfortunately, QPR got an equaliser. We're meant to be impartial.
We are, but I just think Rotherham done so well in this game. They're punching well above their weight, but diving header.
You were going to say it again, weren't you?
I was. just annoyed me. But Luke Freeman scores a great diving header. I love a good diving header. Goalkeeper gets a hand to it, but I can't blame him for this. The power on that header just blasted it past him.
Yeah, no, I can't fault him. I know probably deep down you'd like to fault him because you hate goalkeepers, but no, nothing he could have done about
paid
that.
to stop the ball going in there. It's just do your job properly. Especially when you touch the ball. You touch the ball, push it in. So what am I paying you for? Rotherham
I really hope I'm against you tomorrow night.
Rotherham had 41% possession, 13 shots, 7 on target. That's the other thing. Their conversion rate for shots on target is pretty good. QPR had 17 shots, 6 on target. Just a really good game. I like this one. Paul and Steve.
Yeah, we'll start with Warney. He said, "We have played against a very good team, and I think if we got the third goal, it would have been enough. Our keeper has kept us in it. It's just hard to take because we conceded so late," which they did. And it was just as they were announcing the added time, weren't it, actually?
It was.
It was a great header, but we should defend better than that. The lads have got to be pleased with themselves because they are taking on the informed teams. If you'd have asked me at 60 minutes if I'd have taken a point, then I possibly would have. We are hard to beat, but it would be nice if we were hard to beat and find wins easy. An extra 2 points would have set us up lovely. Oh, you can't help but like Paul Warne, can you?
So positive.
Yeah, and all the things he say are like literally lovely. You think, Steve McLaren said, "I think we deserve more than a point, but credit to Rotherham. They've got a great record here, and I thought it was a great end-to-end game. We knew it was going to be difficult, and it was. But I am proud of the players and their performance. Even if we'd have lost, I'd have been proud of that performance. It would have been a travesty not to come away here without a point. The bench made a difference, and that is what we needed. It's not about the 11, but the squad that we need to continue through. He, Freeman, can score goals. He can assist, but his enthusiasm is infectious. He's one of our most important players." And he is. He's very, very good at scoring crucial goals. He's good with the assists. Good with he's just good all round. Really, one of the unsung heroes of the championship so far this season, I'd say.
Preston won, Middlesbrough won. I'll have a bit of a rant about this. So it was 10,000 people at Deepdale watched this game, and Preston, I think, outplayed Middlesbrough here. And I think Neil Harris don't give a shit. I think Alex Neil will be so annoyed because, well, okay, so Preston in the first half were absolutely the best team. As simple as that. They were the best team. There was they had a great pass and move. They had a couple of good passing moves. The goal, Randolph had to make a couple of good saves. On 43 minutes, they score. How would you describe this goal? Because
the first thing I noticed about this goal was Darren Randolph.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, he doing an impression of an aeroplane. Which
trying to put the keeper off.
I think he was doing his. I think Darren Randolph was doing his impersonation of Jan Olga Fjortov. That's one for the teenagers. Can you remember Jan Olga Fjortov? I know it got off subject. Can you remember him?
I can't.
He played for Swindon in the 90s when they were in the Premiership, and he went to Middlesbrough, Sheffield United, and every time he scored,
jump side to side and put his arms up and down?
He just used to put both his hands out like an aeroplane and do that thing you'd do when you were younger, like going "Wee," like that, which is not very good because A, it's a podcast, and B, we're not face to face, so you can't see what I'm doing right now. Brown. I've actually written this goal down thingy. Brown plays it to Malt to the left of the penalty.
Hold on. You're sitting in a room on your own making aeroplane gestures.
If you would like me to share the full situation for you, we live on a main road. We live on a main road in a place called Bradwell. The curtains are currently open. I'm sat here in my work shirt and boxer shorts in the bedroom with the light on, so everyone who's walking past or going past in their cars can also see me doing this. But I don't care, to be honest with you.
Why you're on Skype? That looks a bit dodgy.
I really don't care.
Anyway, let's move on.
I've written down this goal because that's the initial question you asked me before you wanted to go off tangent and about my boxer short situation, which is a bit concerning. Brown played it to Malt to the left of the penalty area. No, that's the one before. I've lost track entirely. Barker centres it to Brown, who strides into the penalty area and fires it into the corner beyond a aeroplane impersonating Randolph to make it 1-0. That's exactly what I've written down in my notes.
Right, so the Middlesbrough score straight up. Right, Middlesbrough scored on 46 minutes, but again, they scored pretty much straight from the kickoff. And you know the old phrase, catch a team cold?
I've written that down. I've written that down myself. We don't compare notes either, listeners. We're on the same wavelength.
Don't make that many.
How dare you?
Right, so I'm just going to go straight to the stats. Middlesbrough had 3 shots on target this whole game. They didn't look threatening at all. They got dominated with possession, and this was their one dangerous attack. And in the minute this happened, it was like Pulis went, well, that's it, we're done. But they were kicking themselves because this goal was crap from a Preston point of view. What would you not say?
No, well,
from a defensive point of view,
you've summed it up perfectly. They were caught cold. But believe it or not, I know these words don't often go together when you're talking about Middlesbrough. It was a long ball down the wing. I think Fry, and I'd like to say that he played that purposely, but I don't think he did. But that was a nice ball regardless, down the right, as we were looking at it, weren't it? To Vanier, the youngster to Vanier.
It was a substitution that came out at 27 minutes for Gestede.
Yeah, and I mean, he outpaced his man. I didn't catch who that was, or his man tried to impede his run but failed, so he went past him. He got into the box and fired it low past Rudd for the equaliser, and Rudd every right to be upset because you expect your defence to be more alert at the start of a second half than that. I suppose you're vulnerable to things like that at the start of a half because you've not reset properly, and all this, that and the other, all this technical football talk that we won't get into because we don't want to bore ourselves, let alone our listeners. But yeah, they were caught cold, and that's exactly what you'd expect a Tony Pulis side to do. He probably said at half time, just knock that ball up and see if we can catch him. And that's worked. And that's a bit harsh. That's a bit harsh on Preston because we talked a great deal about this game on Monday, and we talked about it off air as well as on air. And I said to you on air that this would be a battle of Preston's flair being quelled by Middlesbrough's defence, and Preston would consider themselves a bit unlucky not to come out of this with 3 points because I think they deserve to win from what I saw of this game.
They did deserve to win, and this is why I think they'll be so annoyed that when you watch the highlights of this goal, it's not just the defence. There is not a single midfielder in the camera shot.
No
one tracking back, and it's like you cannot switch off for a moment in this league, because what will happen is a Tony Pulis team or any team, Hull, Ipswich, they will exploit any weakness they have, and Preston just didn't come out the tunnel. They were there. They weren't there in mind, and I think that was it's cost them 2 points here, and that was it. There was nothing really else to say after that.
No.
That was it. Tony Pulis shut up shop. Job done.
Yep.
He was happy with a point away from home. He knows the score.
1-1. Yep.
64% possession for Preston, 13 shots. I think at the end of the day, you're right. They would be very disappointed. And to be honest, Preston have gone up against one of the better teams in this league, and to be upset with a draw, that's the right attitude to have. Yeah. And obviously, they didn't play considering they didn't have their star player.
Yeah, as we said.
They still managed to score. They still managed to look dangerous. So, yeah. Have you got what the manager said?
I did have, but then I took it off, so I was looking at the half-time scores. Preston North End manager Alex Neil stated to play as well as we did tonight against the second team in the league with 6 first-team players missing. Any team would struggle to do that if you took those players out of your squad. We haven't got any players left, really, apart from the 11 you had on the pitch. We had young Jack Baxter in the squad today doing the warm-up because we are really stretched in terms of fit players we have available. It was a great goal. Alan Brown got dropped at Bristol because I felt he was showing signs of fatigue mentally more than anything. In the last 2 games, he's shown why he is a player I rely on and trust. The Middlesbrough goal is disappointing because it's a bad error from us, and I don't think they created too much apart from that. Tony Pulis said we'll take a point. and that's all I'll say about him because I don't find him very interesting.
He took a point. That's it. Jumped up. I told you that's what he wanted. He would be. Right. So the next game, you laughed at me when I said Sheffield Wednesday against Bolton. It was just happening. I didn't care. Right. How many shots do you think this on target this game had in total between both teams?
That wasn't an own goal, was it? So 1.
No, it had 2. They had 1.
Oh, okay.
And Sheffield Wednesday scored from theirs. So Sheffield Wednesday 1, Bolton 0. Tom Lees scores a header on 57 minutes.
And that's it.
That is it.
Let's move on to the stats. No, I was laughing about this game because of reasons we can't talk about on air, if you can remember rightly, Paul.
Yep, exactly. We'll move on. The other thing to note about this is it had more fouls than shots, corners, and shots on targets added together.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I'd like to talk about this game, I don't know if you made notes on it or not, is Clayton Donaldson's effort. He had a lovely chance to equalise, and
he absolutely slices it wide.
Yeah, I've got the BBC because I haven't written down what the manager said, so I'm going to use the BBC website, so give them all credit for that. Thank you very much, BBC. Always there. They don't give out money for sponsorships, so I don't know why I'm bothering. Clayton Donaldson, he scuffed. He shot well wide, is how they kindly put it. My notes just put Donaldson, oh my God, he couldn't have scored for ages. And then I've read here, he's gone 28 games without a goal. So he's completely low on confidence. He'll probably be signed up by Forest in January.
He needs to give his mate, he needs to give Berahino a ring, ask him how he played his duck.
Imagine that forward line. Straight to no one. Do you want me to read what the manager said? Because I don't really want to read it either.
I don't care, actually. I mean, the idea of this podcast was to give everyone an equal shout. The problem is there was nothing about this game that interested me because both these teams low in confidence. So both bottom of the form table. I didn't expect much. To be fair, I expected a draw. So Sheffield Wednesday would be great that they've managed to break their 6 games without a win or whatever it was. So that'll be great for Bolton. It's more of a downward trajectory. They were booed off by their own fans in the last game, which I just think shows no class. Go on.
Well, I think I will. Yeah, for the interest of balance, we'll stretch this out another couple of minutes. Joss, our man, Waven Joss. That's a little joke.
Okay.
If you can remember, you've got the name right as well. I've just got the image of him waving over walls and stuff.
Just as I get his name right, they'll probably sack him.
Yeah, they probably will. He'll probably end up with, you know what the managerial merry-go-round's like. He'll probably end up at Bolton. Although they still have a manager, so very unfair of me to say that. Joss Luhuke, as Paul rightly says, said, we didn't find our way in the first half and could not find our way to combinations and chances. There was pressure on the game. But we started the second half well and got the goal, had more of the ball and gained an important win with a clean sheet. I'm happy for the team and the fans, but now we must have a new spirit and find a new way to come to a positive result at Blackburn. Phil Parkinson said, I thought the first half we controlled a lot of the game. At the start of the second, I thought Forestieri coming on gave the crowd a lift and then a huge lift. We didn't start as quickly as we needed to respond to that, and that start to the second half has cost us the game. One moment has separated the two teams. On the night, you could sense there was a lack of confidence from Sheffield Wednesday. I felt the game was there for the taking. Our goalkeeper has hardly touched the ball or had a save to make. So, yeah, very downbeat and worrying downhill trajectory, easy for me to say, for Bolton since the first couple of games of the season, really. That's
how important have those first couple of wins been for them? Because that could have been, I mean, they could be, well, they'd have sacked their manager by now if they hadn't had them first couple of wins the way they've been.
Yeah, but again, you've got to think, again, I don't like talk of negativity regarding managers because that's a bloody hard job, but could Bolton afford to sack him?
40 minutes from being wound up not so long ago. It's worrying. It's worrying. Anyway, let's move on to, we like to look forward in this podcast, and we are going to look forward to the weekend's fixtures. And it's a little bit of a different spin on the fixtures this week because there's no Friday night game. However, there is a Sunday lunchtime game, and then there's a Monday night football is the Championship. Ooh. So, a bit interesting, a bit different. I quite like it. I do like a Monday night game. Could be interesting because it's usually when we like to record the podcast. So
Yes, we'll have to do a live. We'll have to do a blow-by-blow account as we're doing the podcast.
and it's a bloody good game as well, which is disappointing. It couldn't have been like Sheffield Wednesday Bolton, and you wouldn't have cared. So, the lunchtime game, the 12:30 kickoff, Sheffield United against Leeds. Now I wonder why that's the lunchtime game. Can we ever think why Leeds would be playing not at 3 o'clock on a Saturday?
Sorry, I'm just laughing. Goal flash. Can we just say, would you like me to run down the half times from the games? Because I'm now going to spoil that it's Aston Villa 3, Nottingham Forest 4.
Oh,
So I might as well. Ipswich 1, Bristol City 0, Millwall 0, Birmingham 1, Swansea 1, West Brom 2, Wigan 1, Blackburn 0, Stoke 1, Derby 0. That's how it stands at half time. We'll just begin in the second half. Obviously, we'll talk about them games in more depth come Monday. But that's going to help because I know in a couple of minutes that's going to be 4-4 and you'll hear me groan halfway through talking about another game. So
I hope, because currently the Ipswich result, Birmingham and West Brom with Forest drawing, that's a good little result for me. That would be a lovely little result for me. So I could do with a Villa Forest draw, but we won't go there. Anyway, so go back to Leeds.
Sorry. It's on Sky because it's Leeds, of course.
Exactly, and this
We all know.
even further pushes Leeds up the. I have been shown on Sky more times than any other team this season, because I think only 3 teams have been shown on Sky more times. That will be Man City, that will be Chelsea, and I think that is also going to be Arsenal. So,
Yeah.
I'd be really annoyed as a Leeds. Well, I mean, I wouldn't, because actually fans don't care how much revenue their club gets. They just want to be able to. They want accessibility to their team, and currently, if you go to Sky Sports, it's the Leeds United channel.
Well, I mean, how far is it from Sheffield to Leeds?
I don't know.
Oh.
I mean, it's not far. It's not a derby, I don't think.
It's
not
35.5 miles down the M1.
Yes.
So that's about 46 minutes according to Google Maps. There are other map apps out there. Yeah. My main, if this was a 12:30 kickoff and that was Leeds against, I don't know, think of a team who are far away, Borough maybe, or Swansea, someone like that, then the fact they keep messing about with the kickoff times, as you say, is playing hell on these fans who have done nothing to deserve it, have they?
Yep.
And that's a frustrating bone of contention. But anyway, we could talk about that all day on Monday or another day. We have a special theme podcast on negativity. We could fill that for about 7 hours. As far as the results go for this one, that's too close to call, isn't it? That really is. That's a game. From a betting point of view, I wouldn't have it on my coupon because it's 12:30 and I don't want my bet to be down before the main crux of the game's at 3 o'clock. But looking at the odds, knowing that Sheffield United are very in and out, I'd say that Leeds are favourites. Actually, they're just above evens away from home. So on the odds, I'd probably say that's going to be a draw. I'd say it'll be a draw.
Sheffield United are 2 points off Leeds at the minute.
Yeah.
I actually think Sheffield United will get a result here. And the only reason I think that is because I think that it's at home. I think it's going to be a game that has a fantastic atmosphere. I think it's going to be from a spectacle point of view. Sky have picked the right game this weekend. There's no two ways about it. It just seems to be every game that involves Leeds tends to be the right game to watch because Leeds are that good this season. That is a compliment. But I think Sheffield United can win this. So at 3 o'clock, we've got Birmingham City against Preston.
Ooh.
I think this also could be a good game.
Yeah, that would not surprise me in the slightest if this one turned out to be like the dark horse for game of the weekend, because Birmingham are able to score, and as we speak, they are winning away to Millwall, which is no mean feat, is it? I mean, Millwall, I know Millwall are not in the greatest form at the minute, but that's not the easiest place to go. Although they've had a man sent off as well, so maybe a little bit easier for Birmingham today. Preston are the form team in the Championship as regards to going on an unbeaten run, I would think. I know, obviously, Norwich are one of the most informed teams in Europe at the minute and things like that, but Preston missing their star man, having a great performance against Borough yesterday. Birmingham That's too close to call again. I don't want to sit on the fence and call it a draw, but I'm going to have to from a realistic point of view.
I'm going to go Birmingham surely on the fact that Callum Robinson's missing. I think that's Preston. I think they're going to miss that creativity, especially away from home. Blackburn Rovers against Sheffield Wednesday.
No. Well, there has to be a dud on the coupon every week, doesn't there? And this.
We're getting to the next one's going to be a good one as well.
Oh God, I've just seen it. Yeah. Just make noises down the microphone to you and hope that you'll say something rather than me have to say something, because I have no opinion on this whatsoever. I've backed Blackburn today and they're losing 2-0 against Wigan, so I'm not happy. Sheffield Wednesday back in form, beating Bolton 1-0, not the greatest performance, but a confidence booster. Sheffield Wednesday, if they get back to their form of September, October time, I think they can go to Blackburn and win. And 3-1 they are as well. That might be worth a speculative little punt.
I think this is going to be a draw. Bolton against Wigan.
Well, no. A case can be I'm going to put my colours to the mast. We're going to win this. I know they're the favourites, but I would say away to Bolton. Bolton, no real shake at the minute. Wigan have picked up lately. Wigan.
Yeah, I think I'd go that. I can't see Bolton. I just feel sorry for Bolton fans. They've had such a tough time. I don't think it's going to end this weekend. And unfortunately, Wigan are they're not the strongest team in this division. And I think Wigan are going to go there. They're going to press straight from the kickoff, and I think they're going to get a result. Frank Lampard, obviously, because he owns Derby now. Frank Lampard's Derby against Swansea. Derby at home. I do like Derby at home.
Yeah, I think Swansea, having lost 4-1 to Norwich on Saturday, currently losing to West Brom at home as we speak now, need to bounce back big style. Derby going to Pride Park, not the easiest place to go. I was going to say best place, but that sounds negative. I don't mean it in that way. For once, Derby win, home win.
Agreed. Reading against Stoke. Now I fancy Reading here.
No, see, that's
I
the thing.
I don't know why. I just think Stoke are awful. Stoke are rubbish for the players they've got. They're so below the level they should be. Reading played so well against Leeds. I can see a Reading, and I'm not saying Reading are going to win. I think a draw here would be good for Reading. Let's put a bit of perspective behind it. But I think Reading are going to get something.
Reading could possibly contain Stoke. I can see that. But at the same time, I think Stoke can easily hold Reading at bay. That might be one of them dull games that just come on at the end of the highlights. I think I can see it being 0-0, 1-1.
This is a jingle game, isn't it?
Yep, those definitely so. One of them Muzak ones.
Yep. Norwich against Rotherham. Norwich at home. Now, you've said about Rotherham's poor away form, and since you've said that, they ain't lost away. They ain't won any, but ain't lost.
No.
I think that's coming to an end this weekend.
Well, no, this is the test from Norwich. See how much they've improved from last season. Obviously, big style because they're much higher, but they were never near the top last season, were they? Unless they were after a couple of games or something. Rotherham's away form. I don't expect them to go to Carrow Road and win. I'm not going to be negative on Norwich because I tipped them to be relegation dark horses. I thought they might struggle. They've gone above expectations, even if their own supporters. Let's be honest about it. Last season, Norwich.
I know Norwich supporters that think winning the championship will get them in the Champions League next season.
Well,
they're that knowledgeable about football.
Yeah, well, they shoot down that end of the field, don't they? Like, no, that's another story. Norwich last season, if you looked at their results against the teams who were perceived to be the weaker teams in the Championship, they struggled in both games against Burton Albion, if I remember rightly, and there were teams down at the bottom who they found it really hard against. So this is an interesting test. I'm not saying for one moment that Rotherham are going to go there and win, but I would say that the way Rotherham are playing at the minute, there will be goals. Rotherham carry a threat. They can't defend necessarily well, but they carry a threat offensively. It wouldn't be a massive surprise to me if this turned out to be a draw, and an entertaining draw at that as well. Norwich, on the form of this season, should win 3-4-0, find it very comfortable. But they're that type of team who, when they come up against teams they're expected to win, maybe the expectation weighs against them. The fans get on their back if they're not winning after half hour, which we've experienced firsthand tons of times going there ourselves. I wouldn't be surprised if this one turns out to be a draw.
Norwich 4-1, 5-1. Norwich are going to absolutely smash them. Nottingham Forest, I'll tell you what, Forest have got a tricky game. Currently, as we speak, Ipswich are doing something.
Ipswich are losing 3-2 at home to Bristol City.
I told you I was going to say, Ipswich are due a win.
They are, but they're not going to get it at our place.
No, I don't think they are either. I think Forest win. QPR against Hull.
But then again, I will add the caveat. You can't say that they're both, because they're both playing Wednesday. Forest, I would go into it a bit deeper. Forest, that might be the first time this season. This game tonight against Aston Villa, we'll go into it more in depth on Monday. That's the first time. I think that's the first time they've named an unchanged side.
Yes.
But obviously, Forest's squad is a hell of a lot deeper than Ipswich's. So that Wednesday to Saturday thing, Norwich, that's a faux pas. Forest are being able to pick a second decent first 11, if that makes sense, compared to Ipswich's, where they'll probably be fielding.
Oh wow! It's right. So Bristol City, Balioski own goal.
God!
How bad has it got to be for the goalkeeper to be given the own goal? Anyway,
we were talking about them, weren't we? We were talking about their goalkeepers lacking confidence. But no, as I was saying, Forest's reserves are a lot deeper than Ipswich's. You'd expect Forest to win.
You would.
Simple as that.
Yeah, I think Forest are going to win. I just think Ipswich are definitely due a win. Obviously, but yeah, they are due a win. I think you're right though. I think their lack of depth is definitely going to come back to bite them. QPR against Hull. I think QPR win.
At home, yeah. I mean, Hull showed shoots of recovery against Norwich. I mean, that's no mean feat. I know they were at home, but that was a good performance from Hull, and they could have. But I know Norwich finished the game stronger, but Hull had enough chances to be ahead in that game. QPR are on a dream run of form. I mean, first 4 games of the season, we were saying that Steve McLaren's managerial career was hanging by a thread, let alone his job at QPR, and he's turned it around entirely. At home to Hull carry that threat. Marshall will be hard to beat. They're good on the break with Irvine and the other lad whose name escapes me at the minute, Bowen. But QPR should be too strong for them.
100% agree with that. I think away from home, I'd maybe think slightly differently, but QPR aren't going to lose at home. I think they're going to beat Hull here. Middlesbrough against Villa. Middlesbrough at home. Obviously, Tammy Abraham scored a hat-trick tonight.
And his side is still losing.
Yep.
Long may it continue, as we say. We'll talk about that Monday. That'll be 5-4 Villa. But a lot depends on what happens tonight. Obviously, that's a bit hard to talk about that one ahead. Borough at home, quite strong. Any team to beat them at Riverside? Nottingham Forest, actually. So just thought I'd get that in there. That's a tight one to call. Again, I would say that both would probably be happy with a point. Although Middlesbrough, they'd both be looking to win, to make a point. But I think a point is the most likely outcome for both sides in this one.
I agree with you.
Cancel each other out. The tail of the X, I think maybe Ruby Gested get on the score sheet. He played for... Well, he's at Middlesbrough now, and he played for... No. Where is Gested? He is at Middlesbrough, and he played for Villa.
He came off after 27 minutes, though.
Okay, he's maybe injured then. But, yeah, I just like the tail of the X thing when it comes to footballers. They always seem to do it, don't they? They always come back and sort of haunt you. That's why I'm quite glad that Henry Lansbury's injured, because he probably would have scored a hatful against us tonight as well. Yeah,
quite possibly. Bristol City. So this is the game that's on 1:30 Sunday afternoon. Bristol City against Millwall.
Is that live on normal Sky, or is that live via the red button?
I think it's a red button.
Oh, okay. I'll be watching it. Although the league we shall not mention, it's Derby Day, isn't it? It starts at 11:30. 4.
I was going to say, I know what game I'm watching at 2:00. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, you'll still be watching Bristol City Millwall for the sake of this for the sake of this podcast.
I might be flicking between Arsenal Spurs.
Can I just? Pardon me, sorry. Can I just say, I thought there was enough goals last night to write about because obviously the games didn't finish till late. Me having two small children doesn't help because putting them to bed. I had to watch the goals very quickly before we started recording on Skype. Imagine how long it would have took if we had to talk about the goals so far tonight.
I know, I'm
and
just
cram that. You're looking, you've got 7, 12, 13, 16, 19 goals so far in these 6 games. What other league would you get that sort of goal scoring prowess in? That's phenomenal.
Or in the case of Ipswich Town, poor goalkeeper.
Yeah, well, I mean, we haven't seen any of the other goals yet. That could be a night of it, mate. You could well be in your element come Monday.
Oh, no. Then Monday's podcast is going to go on for about 4 hours.
Does it always?
Bristol City, it does. Bristol City against Millwall. I think Bristol City are going to win this. I didn't think they'd beat Ipswich, but by the looks of it, they are going to beat Ipswich.
Well, there's still 20 minutes left. This one, I'll confidently predict a draw. I think they'll cancel each other out. I honestly do. I know Bristol City have scored 3 goals away at Ipswich tonight as we speak, but I think most of the teams in the Championship could do that with ease, unfortunately for Ipswich.
Probably could, yeah.
Millwall are hard to break down. I know they're losing at home to Birmingham as we speak, and they've not been in the greatest form this season, but they are a bloody hard team to break down and beat. Even if you do go there or you play them at home and you beat them, you know you've been in a game. I just don't see Bristol City as that type of team who can get past them, and that wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if we saw a 0-0.
West Brom against Brentford. The 8 o'clock kickoff on a Monday night. Brentford travelling all the way to West Brom. That's like London to West. Well,
to West Brom.
Yeah, to the Midlands. I'm just thinking of
Brentford. That's like London to to West Brom.
8 o'clock on a Monday. I mean, what time are you getting home from that? That's ridiculous. However, the reason I have just looked, and the reason that this game is on a Monday. Well, it's just 2 reasons. One, because the Premier League have a Friday night game, Cardiff Wolves. Obviously, the Wilderness can't.
Oh, what a thrilling game that'll be!
Yeah, that's fantastic. That was a Championship game last season, but that didn't get Sky coverage. And then you've got midweek games for the Premiership. So obviously, there's no Wilderness games Tuesday, Wednesday next week. I wonder how many Premier League managers moan that their teams are playing 3 games in a week. I bet these Championship managers are going to have so much sympathy for them. Anyway, West Brom against Brentford. West Brom win.
Yeah, I can't see anything else other than that.
Brentford just are lacking so much confidence. They're lacking something up front other than Maupay. I think they need something different. And West Brom, they're inconsistent, but they're inconsistent and staying in the playoffs. So woe is them. I think no, seriously. I think that they're not showing a great deal of consistency. However, they're hanging in there when they click and they really go on a run of 4 or 5 games where they win. They can beat anyone in this league. There's a couple of teams where I'd say Leeds, West Brom, and Middlesbrough. They're the 3 that can probably beat anyone in this league on their given day. I think everyone else is just showing real consistency against the lower teams, and I think West Brom are one of those teams that when they click, they can beat anyone.
Yep, I can't. You've summed it up perfectly. I can't say any more than that. I wish I could argue with you, but I can't.
So that concludes our midweek rant of the Championship. Our incoherent rant. Thank you all for listening, because obviously putting these podcasts together, it's great to know that someone is actually listening to us. And if you like the podcast, always leave us a rating or review on iTunes, because that really does help people find the podcast through the top 5s and the most recently downloaded and all that kind of algorithms that iTunes use. Obviously, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter at ChampionshipTA1. And we shall be back on Monday to record, where we will be going through the Wednesday night games that we've briefly spoken about today, and we'll be rounding up all of the weekend's fixtures. Probably not.
There is no chance that we're covering today's games briefly, mate. There's absolutely no chance whatsoever. Can I just say as well, before we go, Nottingham Forest have had a man sent off.
Oh, I can't even pronounce his name.
Tobias Figueiredo. Tobias Figueiredo. I
Sounds
can't
like
say it either.
Sounds like a cheese.
And on that note,
That's goodbye from me.
and it's goodbye from me. I just wanted it to be known that I've enjoyed recording this podcast, but I have missed all 7 goals from the game. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
We should speak to you all Monday. Goodbye.
Bye.
And stop. Oh,